Hey guys, I want to welcome you to the weekly Wednesday for the Financial Freedom newsletter, where every week, every Wednesday, we delve into something inspirational, motivational, something excerpt taken from the Financial Freedom weekly newsletter. Wherever you are, if you're listening on Spotify, on iTunes, Google, be sure to click the like, subscribe, share, comment. And without ado, let's get into the show. Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, I'm always scouring the globe, trying to get the top 0.1% distinctions, insights from the very best, brightest people on the margins, cutting edge, doing fascinating things. So today I have Troy Holt, and he is the Chief Encouragement Officer, which I find very fascinating that in this day, there's like Chief Technology, there's Chief, so many different, but how people label and call themselves. So today's going to be talking all about financial education, relationship marketing, and success in today. So he's also a podcast host of Troy Talks. And with that, we'll welcome Troy to the show.
Chris, hey, again, thank you for the opportunity, thank you for reaching out, and just extending the invitation to come and be a part. For those that don't know this, listen in among Podmatch, Chris is the number 4 host on a podcast. See, Chris, you didn't think I did that research, but I'm truly grateful and truly honored to be a part of this podcast. And it's a unique thing for us podcasters. We're just out here. We're trying to make a difference and trying to make an impact and bringing on guests, to share their insights, their expertise, and their experience to help people, in whatever arena that it is. So again, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, tell people about your backstory, how you got started, and we'll go from there.
So Chris mentioned about my title. So I own a company called Troy Holt Consulting, and I'm the CEO. The CEO stands for Chief Encouragement Officer. My title is my personality. I am truly an encourager person. I'm always encouraging and supporting others. So that's where my title came from. But also, I'm a certified financial educator. I'm on a mission to help eliminate financial illiteracy, especially in America. I work mostly with individuals, but also with some businesses. But there's a lot of people in here, especially middle class America, who just haven't been educated, on simple money tips and education. And it's just I'm just out here just trying to make an impact, not just an income, but an impact. Not just trying to have revenue, but relationships over revenue, people over profits, and impact over income.
I love that. Impact and meaning. Yeah. Today's society, for lack of a better term, it's just all about greed and True. Consumption and who has the biggest, fanciest, whatever. When it boils down to it, is making a difference. And so one thing is finances are a big thing, and you talk about this biggest financial crisis in the U.S. Aside from the bank failures this year, what is your thoughts on? I want to hear from your perspective.
Yeah, I think the banking. There's so many areas. The banking crisis was big, but statistics says is I think the number says 39% of Americans don't have to cover a $400 emergency. And that's really huge. Emergency is going to happen. They're going to come. It's just a part of life. And just that one statistic, and then the other statistic, debt and student loan debt, is a huge factor. Me being an African American, the numbers are even worse. And so as a minority, those numbers are truly even huge. And so for me is just trying to help people. If I can just help one, when I educate and a light bulb come on, I get excited about that, because, hey, I'm helping somebody reach toward generational wealth, reaching toward a financial goal. And so we just need more people out there that really care and really want to help people, to improve their financial situation.
Yeah. So it's so interesting because, we talk about, like I said, these, there was 2008, and then there's basically our financial system is extremely fragile and stable. Yeah. But what it boils down to is lack of financial literacy, financial education, and it's never been taught in schools, which I don't really understand why.
Correct.
And so, for the audience out there, it's extremely important, basic understanding of debt and all this. So what is your number one financial book for 2020, 2021, or the best one you've read so far?
So there's a few. So one of them is we have a book, and I'm not the author of a book, but we have a book called How Money Works. The book is educational and entertaining. So the book is designed that even a middle schooler could pick the book up and read it and understand basic concepts. So it teaches concepts, the rule of 72. It teaches those type of strategies and concepts to allow people to be educated, because people say, I've never heard of that. Another book I really like is The Psychology of Money. It's a book that and I hadn't finished it because I'm reading multiple books, so I hadn't finished it. But it's a great book that deals with the psychological side of money. I also like Rich Dad Poor Dad, that gives people a mindset of the difference between systems, business, self-employed, employee, and just kind of help people to navigate that, because COVID taught most Americans that you should have more than one stream of income, and so I think that's what we got to give a person, get people's mindset. There's nothing wrong with being a W-2 employee. Everybody can't be a business owner. And so it's nothing wrong with being a W-2 employee. But at the same time, you may want to have an additional stream of income in case something happened to that W-2 income to be able to fall back on. So those are a few books I can think of right now off the top of my head. Those would be some books that I would recommend.
Yeah. I love that. All those titles are fin, especially the psychology of money. That's really an interesting, being more strategic. The other thing is, you talk about, so taxes are a huge thing, our national debt, they're inflating, they're printing away money, devaluing it, and they're basically raising taxes on the peoples to cover for their mistakes while they profit. Yeah. So what is one of the most underutilized vehicles to legally avoid taxes?
I think one of the most underutilized and least educated is people using. So, let me, for the audience, there's three buckets of taxes. There's tax now, which is income, W-2, capital gains. Then, or if you have mutual funds and stocks, you get tax on that. Then there's tax later. That's your 401k, 403b. Those are your tax later when you begin to make distribution. And then the tax never is the bucket that most people are underutilized, which is your Roth IRA and also cash value life insurance. Those, I think, are some of the most underutilized and not known that people really do not take advantage of. Because the thing with taxes is, originally, Chris, I started years ago with American Express Financial Advisors, and we had what we call the tax control triangle. And that was one of the things that they taught us that will derail a financial plan. And they also mentioned things like disability, but also it was taxes and inflation. And if we can minimize, like I said, Chris, legally, we can legally minimize taxes. And one of those rules is the IRS Code 77. It's a code that allows you to put money in a cash value life insurance policy to be able to have distribution tax-free. And so I think that's the biggest thing that's underutilized, dismissed, that people is not educated. Now, I will say this too, with many people that I've dealt with, there's education, and then we got to move from education to implementation. Many people get the education, but they won't get the implementation. So we got to move them from not only education to also implementation.
Yeah, I love that. And it's all about financial freedom, financial inclusion. Some people don't even have access to bank accounts. Our financial system just very old and very exclusionary, just designed to help the top 1%. So, we talk about equality, particularly among marginalized communities, but there's also, there's gender disparity too. So talk about that as well.
Sure. So first of all, in America, this is a passion of mine, the gender disparity and also minority disparity. So in America, and I'm speaking from an African American point of view. So in America, the median net worth for a white family is $189,000. For a Black family, it's 24,000. And I did not make any mistakes with those numbers. So that's a big gap. Now, if it's a single Black female household, it's only 7,000. So that's an even bigger gap. In America, for every dollar that a white male makes, a white female makes 82 cents on the dollar. But a Black female makes 68 cents on the high end, 58 cents on the low end. Now, in America, Black women are some of the most educated women in America, but they carry the most student loan debt, but also they get paid the least. So there's a big gap. First of all, for every dollar, women in general, excluding white women, it's 82 cents. And many women can do the same job, and sometimes the job's better than men, but they don't get paid. There's a gap. Now you have people dispute it, they'll argue with you, but there's documentation out there to show that women do not get paid as much as men. Now, there's some factors, the reason why that. Number one, women tend to take off from their jobs to take care of children or take care of loved ones. Usually the woman. So during that time, they're missing out. The biggest demographics of poor are women. Why? Because women live longer than men. So they end up living longer than men, and sometimes they do not always get into the financial planning process. They just leave it to the man. And so these are some factors that's huge. And also statistics show that women don't many times negotiate salaries. They take what's given to them because they don't feel like they deserve more. Whereas a man, he'll go in there and negotiate more of a salary starting out or when it's time to be able to get a raise. So those are some of the factors why those gaps exist.
So well said. And like I said, traditionally it's been a certain gender, a certain race that has always controlled everything. It's up to us to kind of dispense awareness, information.
Correct.
And, fight for equal opportunities.
And Chris, to that point, we shouldn't, what I try to explain to people is these things exist. You want to be aware, but don't let it hinder you. Don't let it be a crutch. Don't let it be an excuse, a plan and move forward, even though you have these obstacles to overcome.
Yeah. I love that. I read a recent quote was like the top people, the bottom people, they complain about the game, they engage in this victimhood. And then the top people, they understand the game and they play by the rules, and they basically use the game to get ahead. So that's where we want to. Chris,
you need to find me that quote and send it to me, please. Find that quote and send it to me.
Yeah, definitely. It's a fascinating quote. It's just like get smarter. Use the game to your advantage and don't complain. Yeah. So
correct. And that's just about anything. Learn the game, learn how to play it, and then once you learn the game, learn how to play it, do it better than your opponent. And then you can come out on top. That's exactly. It. Yeah.
So I love this conversation. And, as we get more empowerment and we get more success, how can people contact you and follow you and, reach out to you?
Yeah. So there's two main places they can reach me. They can reach me at my website. It's TroyHolt.com. That's TOY.com. That's my name, TroyHolt.com. Also on LinkedIn, I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if you reach out to me on LinkedIn, I think now I'm at about 15,000 followers, and so I'm very active. I post on there almost daily, and very part and active on LinkedIn. So those are the two main places. I'm just about on every platform, but those are the two main places to connect.
Yeah, and so great conversation for all the audience out there listening. Really. Take these ideas and strategies, use them to your advantage. Don't let society put you in the victimhood. Use them to your advantage. And all of Troy's resources will be in the links and show notes. And with that, thanks so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
I hope you really enjoyed that wonderful, inspirational, motivational piece. Again, wherever you are listening, if you liked it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Audible. And without much ado, be sure to thank this show's sponsors, and we'll see you next week.